Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the 1 year anniversary of Realm News. I am your host, the Sun King. That's right, folks. As the resident artist here at Realm News and the most frequent guest, I've hijacked this show this week. I thought it would be a fun flip on the usual format for the 1 year anniversary. Don't worry, though. The show will return to normal next week with all the great Minecraft content you can only get on Realm News. But for this special 1 year anniversary episode, I'm going to interview the man himself, the creator of Realm News, my brother, Greg Howard, the Dark Lord. We'll talk about his upcoming novella, how he gets his ideas, his process for coming up with an episode, and the past, present, and future of the Realm News podcast. I would like to thank everyone for listening, and to all the listeners that subscribe to the Realm News Patreon. If you haven't, please join the Patreon for exclusive access to amazing Minecraft content you won't get anywhere else, including the free ebook, Torvingi in the Village of Alp. I've read it, and it's an astounding debut novella from your favorite host. Now, without further ado, let's talk to the man who puts the real in Realm and expands your mind one block at a time. Greg Howard, aka the Dark Lord. Welcome to the guest seat, bro. How does it feel?
Hello. How's it going, man? It feels great. Sorry, I almost jumped right back into the host seat.
Good, yeah.
It
It's hard
feels
to
good.
shake.
1 year. I can't believe this.
One whole
And
year, man.
great intro, by the way. Thank you for welcoming me into my own show, bro.
Yeah. A little flip on the usual script. I thought it'd be good for the listeners to get to hear from the host for once.
I
Let
thought
you
that
sit in
was
the hot seat.
I love that idea when you came up with it.
Yeah, it's going to
Honestly.
be good. We're going to get to listen to some behind the scenes things and really get to understand your mindset on why you created it and what you have planned for the future.
I have big plans, and yeah, there's a lot to talk about. You wrote down some really good questions. I looked them over. I was like, wow, yeah. So I know who will take over the show when I retire. I'm
We'd probably
joking.
be retiring around the same time, bro.
Probably, man.
So yeah, with that being said, let's dive right in.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready when you
All
are.
right. So I know you created the name Realm News in your game as sort of like an internal newsletter for your kingdom. But why did you decide to call it that instead of like seed stories or block books, for example?
Honestly, I like seed stories, and I like block book. I thought those were some good terms, and I could have very easily went with that. But you did nail it. You did. In my world, I think we began playing Minecraft again around December 2023.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
I believe, and shortly after opening up my world and developing the beginnings of it, I think books were new to us, since our break. And
Yeah.
I don't remember books being a thing when we
No,
played in 2013.
not that I could remember. Maybe they had enchantment books and things like that, but I don't remember them having books you could write in.
No, and honestly, I need to do more research, but I do know that Minecraft, and I think this was a few years ago. Sorry to sidetrack off my question that you gave me, but this is relevant to books. They created like this symposium that's virtual. It's a virtual library, and they did it for oppressed countries that don't have um, freedom of speech. So that way they can
Oh,
go into the
wow.
virtual library and write their own books in Minecraft and then deposit them there. And
Oh,
so
wow.
other
That's really
people could
cool.
check them out. Yeah, I thought that was really neat. And I think that's why we're able to write books was after they developed that virtual library for authors and journalists in those countries to do their thing.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah. I love the social aspect of the game.
Me too. I thought that was awesome, and I'm going to do an episode over that, like that library they created, because I thought that was amazing. I've never heard of it until a couple weeks ago.
You should. That's fascinating. Um,
Yeah, I thought
yeah, what
so,
an
but
interesting way to bring the community into the game and kind of help people with access to publishing in countries where they might not have it.
yeah, I thought that
So
was
good
really
on you.
neat.
Good on you, Mojang.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought so. But so when I discovered that we could write our own stories, I since I play on my tablet, I mean, I forget that it's really hard for you to do that on your controller.
yes, the controller is very tedious for writing any types of books, and
Yeah, that
I
would
think
take
it.
forever.
And I think honestly, you being able to type that up really helped you develop the lore of your world
It
more in
did.
depth and quicker than I did. Mine was a little more ad hoc and kind of on the fly.
Yes, yes, it was, and it did. It allowed me to sit there and I developed my religion, which is en Dieu, and
Hmm.
then I started recording all the things I was building, like a journal. And there's a couple aspects why I chose Realm News, and
Yeah, it's just Realm isn't really, as far as I know, besides Minecraft Realms, maybe not really something common parlance in the game.
that is one reason why. Is because of that subscription, the subscription base of the game is Realms. I thought that was kind of fitting, but honestly, that became fitting later, for the podcast. Originally, in my world, Realm News was because it's a realm, and
Definitely.
to me, I love medieval, the medieval era and studies. I'm just fascinated and drawn to that, and
Same.
yeah, I know that you are,
Yeah,
because
same.
even when we grew up playing with Legos, all of our worlds, a lot of it was medieval, like, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were very taken with
so,
that time period.
but to me, like, realm, the word just feels very mysterious. It gives like a kind of an unknown feeling, yet it's ruled. And I went ahead and looked up the etymology to the word realm because
All right,
I
did your own research. You can't help yourself,
no, I couldn't help myself.
even when you're a
And
guest.
and realm, it comes from Hoyum, which Moon, who is listening to the show, knows what Hoyum means. And
Hey, Moon.
because Moon is French, so um, Royaume is it derives the etymology for Old French Royaume or Rome, and then became, or which even further back comes from Latin regalum, and which comes from further back regalis, which means belonging to Rex or king. And the word
Oh,
Rex itself is derived from the verb regare, which means to rule. So that was really interesting to me. And so to me, the word realm just encapsulates medieval kings, a world that's not fully discovered yet, not, and it's at its beginnings. And that's what it feels like in my world.
for sure. Yeah, it definitely has that air of mystique about it. And it's very appropriately fantasy esque, I would say, just because exactly what you described, but it holds that mystery as well, which I mean, anyone that's played the game, which I hope all of our listeners have, uh, would know. The game is mysterious, it's fantasy based. So, yeah, very appropriate. It's also helped me as the resident artist to help sort of design a style for you with your covers and with the logo. So, I
Yeah.
love it.
I thank you. I love your art. It fits the medieval theme really well. And that's why Realm News. And it was in my head canon in my world, en Dieu. There are some libraries. I have the Gaia Divine Library Lighthouse, and then I have one in Lamplight. And so the news is also a way for information to be spread amongst the citizens of the realm, so that way they're caught up to speed.
Oh, yeah, very appropriate. And I know you have reflection rooms in all of your villages
Yeah, and
where they can
people
catch
have
up on
been
the
listening.
latest copy.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Well, that's awesome. I think it's a great name, and like I said, it's really helped me with the art direction. But moving on, I know you had the idea for a Minecraft podcast, uh, kind of out of the blue to me, and then you put it together in it seems like a week. What made you decide to start a Minecraft podcast?
Oh gosh, yeah, that's kind of an interesting story. I actually got into my journal and was looking and um seeing when I wanted to find the dates real quick, and I had a journal entry on January 8th, 2024 last year, and quote, I have exciting news. I'm going to start a podcast using Spotify's for podcasting app. And so that was the day I came up with it, and I could tell you exactly where I was. I was at my factory job at my machine, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of depressed. Like my job's very, very monotone and
Sure.
repetitive. That's all it is. And I'm not going to knock the job, but I'll just say that my mind wanders. And so I was listening to a podcast. I believe I can't remember what it was. It was um I think it was Stuff You Should Know, and I heard an ad for Spotify for creators or podcasters, and I was like, "Wow, I didn't know it was that easy." So
Oh,
just
cool.
so when I heard that, something clicked in my head. That ad and hearing that it was free, you just had to download the app, and I said to myself, "I can do this. I can." I always wanted to get into something audio, and this was just an easy entry point for me to do so. And it was just a phone app. I had no reason not to. So I guess it was a culmination of a sheer lack of stimuli as a result from my job.
Sure, sure.
Um,
Daydreaming at your job is it's pretty common.
yeah,
That leads to a lot of great ideas.
yeah, and then I wanted to put something together that was, or I was hoping that was unique. I wanted to put, I just wanted to pair something that was a little bit different than other Minecraft podcasts.
Oh, sure. And you have the passion for Minecraft, and it's a game that you're gonna play no matter what. So that makes sense that
A lot of,
you had that
you
cross
know,
section of like, yeah,
y- no, you're right. A lot of it was the lore or just how open ended the game is. Really made me kind of wanted to start a podcast over the theories on the game, and then it kind of expanded into me relating knowledge.
yeah, for sure, and that makes sense too. It kind of leads into the next question. Um, the format for the show hasn't changed much in this year that you've been doing it. Uh, what kind of led you to come up with the idea to discuss historical topics for the show in relation to Minecraft?
Oh gosh, just honestly, my love of knowledge. I like all sorts of knowledge. This kind of paired well with my, I guess my I like different sorts of learning all different sorts of things. I guess um, I get bored with one, I move on. So that's why this is kind of a perfect pairing because there's so many things in Minecraft that I can talk about, and I can just
Sure.
rotate around. A lot of it is history. I just I guess I kind of learned that about myself. I've always liked history and science, but yeah, I always tend to go back to the origins of that Minecraft topic. I really like how learning about when the developers put them in the game. I really love talking about that, and especially when I can find quotes from some of the chief developers in Mojang. I like finding out that because it kind of is a sneak peek into their mind, you know what I mean? And so I do the
Definitely.
same thing with the real world aspect. I like the history and going back in our human timeline and seeing why this was developed or how it was discovered or what purpose this had. I just like that.
Yeah, I think it's great. And also, I think lends a lot of credibility to people being able to take like historical aspects to help create their own lore within the game. Just because it gives you a base for inspiration, you know? Because I
Yeah.
know that you and I both use, we were kind of raised uh, with a fascination of history and wanting to learn more about history. And it's really the best way to learn about humanity is through history. Um, but that really relates into fantasy and a really good fantasy too. So that I think is really valuable to people who want to create their own lore within the game. Because you already mentioned the game is vague; it doesn't have written lore or like defined basis for a lot of what's happening. So you kind of have to fill in the gaps yourself, and I think that makes for a richer gameplay experience.
I agree with you, and honestly, that was one reason why I developed um, this aspect or why I developed the show like this was kind of, I don't know, I guess help foster your imagination because I think it helps to have a history behind something. You can really come up with some unique things in your world. You can world build off of
Yeah,
history.
yeah, and I know I've mentioned I think in prior episodes I've been on just you know some of my enchanted swords are just named after swords from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, what is one of your swords?
I have Glamdring. That's a uh, Gandalf sword.
Ah,
Is
okay, I knew it
my
was Lord of the
enchanted
Rings.
diamond sword. Yeah, um, which I could have. I'm sure I could have come up with a fancy name for it myself, but when you have J.R.R. Tolkien created a whole language, you might as well borrow from him.
Yeah, I know. No, you can't go wrong with Lord of the Ring sword names. I borrowed one from there. Wait, yeah, Sting. For
Yeah.
some reason, I almost called it Needle from Game of Thrones, but
Oh, right. Well, and you almost wonder if that sword name wasn't just like a tweak on Sting. You
that's
know,
what
they're
I
pretty
was
similar.
thinking. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. They really are. No, I love the sword names, and yeah, just having that. I don't know. It just helps with your imagination, knowing history. Like I do with my building. I've named a state Wallachia. I believe that's a name from when, oh my gosh, the literal Dracula
Yeah.
was in charge of Wallachia. And
Yep. Yeah. And then Transylvania, I believe at that point was a member of Hungary, and then after World War One, they became part of the Romanian
yeah,
state, if I
and
remember correctly.
no, I
But
saw a whole documentary over it. And I just love the name Wallachia when I was watching that. I was like, okay, I'm going to name this place over that, incorporate that into my lore. And
oh,
then
it's great. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's just a strong name. So just
strong
little
name.
things like that. And I think that just helps world build. And so I think I wanted to, that's thus the realm or the real of the show. Just additional information. And you get to learn
Exactly.
something that could be
It
useful.
no, definitely, definitely. Of course. I mean, like I said, learning history is the best way to understand humanity and is the only predictor for future behavior of humanity. But that honestly brings me to my next question, which is just kind of a tweak on this. But um, most Minecraft shows are gameplay focused or build focused. Is just your love of history the reason why you decided to go against that trend?
I guess, are you asking why I'm not doing video or stream?
Yeah, or just discussing, optimal redstone builds or
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
streaming your gameplay honestly, because that's the way that most of these Minecraft shows or YouTube channels tend to focus on is gameplay.
Yeah, and I love those. I do
Same.
because they've helped me a lot to build factories, and I haven't really used them to build buildings because my arch you can tell my architecture is just a disarray. But Um, but
It's a mix of
no,
influences.
I didn't do that, and honestly, because it's already done. It's people are doing that.
Yeah.
People that are far more capable than I am. So
Yeah.
that's simple. I mean, there's and not all everybody's out there doing that, but yeah, the majority it seems like on YouTube are instructables on how to build something. So I honestly don't feel like I had a need to do that.
Yeah, you just wanted
Um
to focus on your strengths.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I have nothing against video. I truly don't, and I probably will get into a streaming type. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't have any plans for it, but who knows? Realm News might go into streaming one day. Um,
We'll save that for later in the podcast. That's kind of goes
Perhaps,
into one of
yeah.
my
But
questions. Yeah.
yeah, but and I'm a fan of visual arts. I love movies. I love TV shows. I
Oh,
do.
certainly.
And but I feel like audio is underrated in this day and age in a way with this age of screen time, and I feel like voice has been overlooked a lot. And I'm not saying that I have a great voice or anything, or that my work's always evolving. I hope that it gets better. I'm not saying that this show's revolutionary, but I prefer the art of audio.
Sure.
Personally, I feel like it just brings a certain challenge working with my voice. It just makes it harder to describe some things that are easier seen than said. But when it's conveyed correctly, I believe it gives a richer experience. Almost like a book compared to a movie, if it's done right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've definitely achieved that over your first year for sure. Especially first episode to your latest episode.
The
You're
cleric's
always
cloak.
improving.
The cleric's cloak. Yes, I cringe every time I listen to episode 1. And I cringe when I see that it's still the most. Wait, no, sorry, the second most listened episode still. But I think that's just because it's the oldest. I'm like, gosh, I know most podcasters don't. They get rid of their first episode after a while.
Oh, sure.
But
Do you have plans to do that?
no, I kind of like you, bro. Well, kind of like Zetterstrand in a way too. I think a lot of artists. I like to keep my body of work so the people can see how I evolved.
I agree. You want to know how far you've come, and the best benchmark for that is what you've done previously. And, I think that's more honest. You know, hey, I wasn't always the best at this, but, it takes time and it takes just doing it before you can really master something. So I think that's admirable. I really like that aspect of your podcast is that it's warts and all.
Yeah, it is. I'll admit the editing is quite limited. I know that I have a little bit of my sound issues, a little echo and reverb here and there. I needed a little bit more padding on my walls, but those are things, and I'll get to that later in the show. I think that's in another question, but those are just improvements that'll be made over time.
Oh, certainly, certainly. But like I said, I think the format hasn't changed much, so you had that pretty much dialed in, and you
It,
get better with every episode. So,
it at first, Realm News wasn't in looking in my journal. It was kind of funny because I forgot this. I had written down when I when I wrote down the idea of the show that it was going to be a theory based show, a Minecraft theory based show. And
oh, fascinating.
I think what I ran into as a problem is, hey man, it's hard to just come up with theories weekly. And I wanted a weekly show, and I was aiming for it to be realistically 15 to 30 minutes. And for some reason,
Oh, wow.
I went to an hour, and it just stays that way. I guess I just naturally like longer content.
And I
I don't
think
know.
other
That could be
people
a
do.
problem for some people.
It could be. I think overwhelmingly, though, people want at least an hour. Seems pretty typical if you're
Well,
riding in the car or having to listen to it at work, like I know you do.
I I need to do a survey honestly because there's times where I wonder if my numbers would go up higher if they were shorter, my episodes. But then at the same time, I'm like, I really enjoy providing a poll. I enjoy putting a reel in there, and I enjoy putting the realm or the Minecraft part all in one. I feel like I'd be breaking up the trio if I did it any other way or shortened it, and it would just be lacking. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't mess with the format. I think you've got it dialed in, and whether it's people's shortened attention spans just due to the state of social media in the world, they could stand to sit down and listen to something for an hour,
Yeah, that's another thing is a podcast is a little bit different. You can listen to it at your convenience. So I feel like you're right. You could take breaks and stretch it out if you'd like. So hopefully it's
Yeah,
not an
absolutely.
issue. If it is, somebody could write in. But that's also why I developed Realm News Flash was to was something to be brief, more concise, a
Sure.
summary and relevant for the week.
Yeah, little bite size uh, bit of realm news there, which I enjoy, and I know it's more work for you to do two broadcasts a week, but yeah, I'm sure people enjoy
I hope. I haven't
it.
had any complaints about it, but I just feel like I need to keep Realm News Flash going. Trust me, it is more work. I've had my times where I'm like, geez, maybe I should just make this a bonus thing in my Patreon, but at the same time, I just want to be relevant with the Minecraft news. I mean, it is called Realm News, so
It's called realm news.
exactly.
Exactly. So, do you have speaking of just the format, just how you do things, what was your inspiration as far as podcast wise? Like, you mentioned one podcast earlier, where you heard the commercial for the app that kind of got your brain going on wanting to start a podcast, but what other specific podcasts have you listened to that might have inspired the show or the format of the show?
Yeah. Gosh, I thought about that question when I was reviewing these,
Hmm.
and I'm going to have to veer off a little bit. I don't think there was just a specific podcast. And I know this sounds a
Okay.
little like just, I don't know. It's a lot of things that influenced. I would have to say every podcast, radio show, movie, play, orchestra, etc.
Oh,
in
sure.
my life in some way, directly or indirectly, in my subconscious, just spews into the show. But I have to say this: it would have to be. I'm trying to. I don't know who to give credit to the most. I want to give credit to my old professor, Dr. Riegler, in college. My
Cool.
French professor for teaching me to appreciate literature and how
Yes, for
to
sure.
write decently enough and to have an analytical mind. Those are
Yes.
things that I got from her, and that's helped me with this show. And I will have to say, National Public Radio. I really look up. I love
All right.
NPR. I know that sounds crazy, but I like their professionalism is what I appreciate about them. It's
Yeah,
just the professionalism's astounding to me.
I agree. I agree. NPR is very high as far as audio quality, and the quality that they bring to each of their programs is really strong. And I
Extremely.
felt that, and I think I've said that to you before. And that's going to make me jump a few questions, but I'll get back on track. The musical cues that you use very much remind me of NPR. Um, and they've changed over time. You've used different theme musics and different things. You do the auto tune for pull time, which I love. Um, So, what's kind of the thought process or the decisions behind the music you choose for the show?
Oh, the music. I love music. Yeah, well, first, okay, 100%, you nailed it. It was I love NPR. I like their retro cocktail hour,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
huge fan.
I like their little jingles between shows, and that's what stuck in my head. I'm not the type of person that likes corny or in your face slapstick type of jingles. I don't. I like I like all sorts of music, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying for my show, that's not what I like. I don't I wanted the more professional feel.
Yeah,
I wanted
absolutely.
it like that NPR delivers, and I wanted the audience right off the beginning with the first few seconds to think, "Okay, this isn't your typical Minecraft show. Like, this isn't your typical Minecraft anything. Is this even Minecraft? Yeah, it
Yeah, yep.
is. I mean, I don't want people to not think it's Minecraft. Hopefully, they get that from the beautiful cover art that you created me in the bio before they listen to the show
Absolutely.
and the show episode summary. But um, anyways, I just wanted it to have a professional feel with the jingles. I didn't want them to sound cartoonish.
Yeah, and I think that really comes across. I know I've told you privately, but it really reminds me of some of those good journalistic pieces they have on NPR, where that sort of music cues bleeding into the different story segments and things like that. And I think you've carried that style very well, and it does lend a certain professionalism to what you're doing.
Thank
Um,
you. No, I was, I almost had a real live musician make me an intro, and that's not out of the cards. One day, maybe I'll pay somebody to do that again. But since I got my garage band now, I can kind of just make my own and play around with my own little jingles, which I've had a lot of fun doing, honestly. And I want to learn more about mixing and doing all that. Maybe there'll be a Realm News soundtrack one day. Who knows? I'm joking.
there you go. All right. No,
But no, my
like I
old
said,
guitar teacher, I wanted him to do some jingles, but that just didn't pan out. I think he was just busy with his life and just didn't get around to it. I never heard back from him.
oh yeah, well, life's busy. But yeah, that would
Yeah.
that would be great. The music's ever evolving, and I think that's really great. And it, like I said, it lends a professionalism to the show that I think everyone really takes to.
Thank you.
Um,
I'm glad you like it. I hope other people enjoy the music on the show. I have no idea. I uh I was going to start strumming my own guitar and do my own jingles, but I was like, I have GarageBand now. I can just that's a lot more crisp.
yeah, there you go. Well, maybe we'll hear the Dark Lord on the guitar sometime,
Yeah,
playing his own
right.
jingle.
I have not picked it up forever. I'm rusty.
um, okay, so moving on. What's been your favorite episode to do?
This is a good question.
Yeah.
It's not just one. I can give you one though, because I've never talked to a well, I take that back. I can't remember the celebrity I met in France, but I met one in France. But I've never talked to a celebrity that I can remember until I met Christopher Zetterstrand, who is a celebrity of
Yeah.
sorts, I guess. He's not like an actor or a musician, but an artist, and
Yes.
which is even, I mean, it's even cooler to me.
I
And
agree.
and yeah, and so getting to speak with a person that was actually involved with Minecraft, dude, come on.
Oh
That
yeah,
that that was
absolutely.
the highlight of 2024 for sure.
Oh, easily, and yeah, if I had to pick, yes, I found the Zetterstrand interview to be absolutely fascinating.
No, it was just amazing, but to break away from celebrity episode, because that's just a given, right? That's the
That's
first
a
time I ever
given.
had a celebrity. I love all the guests I've had. Michael TBH, yourself, obviously. That goes without
Thank
saying,
you.
brother.
Thank
You're
you.
hosting the show today. But Michael TBH, and you, and then Zetterstrand, I guess, are the only ones I've had on so far. But just great discussions, and that's what I love. And if I was to break away from having guests on, I did think about this. I think it was my Iron Golem episode. The one
All
that you
right.
suggested to me. You gave me that idea, bro. I had no idea until you mentioned the Gollum history.
Yeah.
The Gollum history, I had to check into that. And that's what made me go down the rabbit hole of Gollums and watch the entire movie Der Gollum. And
Yeah.
um I really got into that, man. Like I was doing so much research. It was super fascinating to me, and that's why I think I loved the Iron Golem episode the most. Besides that, Herobrine, that was interesting.
Herobrine
Um,
was fun. Yeah, I'm glad I could
Wandering Trader.
tip you off on the Iron Golem. The Wandering Trader,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think is just fascinating to you and me as a character. Well, and clearly to you, as we'll talk about later. Very fascinating character.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
becoming a little obsessed with the Wandering Trader. I don't know why.
oh, for sure. Well, he's fascinating, and we'll get to that in a second. But
Okay.
speaking of Christopher Zetterstrand, as one of your few guests, which I am honored to be one of them, um, who would be your dream guest?
Oh my gosh. you know, um let me name a couple.
Sure, yeah,
Agnes
you don't have to.
Larson from
Okay.
Mojang,
Can you
or
explain who she is and
she
what she does for
what's
the
her
game?
title? Let me look it up real quick. She's a create. I think she's head of create. I know Jeb Bergenston is like the chief executive. Um,
Oh, interesting.
I think the head guy of Mojang. He goes by Jeb. Jens Bergenston is his full name. Agnes Larson. Let me see here. I can't remember her official title. That's why I'm looking it up.
Oh, sure. But so you want beyond Zetterstrand, just some more Mojang insiders.
I think she's the lead designer. Sorry, say that again.
So besides Zetterstrand, you would want some more Mojang insiders and
Yeah,
developers.
I would. I'd like to get actually, yeah, like the two people I said, Agnes Larson or Jens Bergenston, or some of the musicians like C418. I wrote to his or their gosh, what were they called? The agent. Didn't hear
Oh,
back from
sure.
that, but I didn't really follow back up either. And no sweat. Everybody's busy, especially famous people.
Well, if
But
he's on
yeah,
Twitter, maybe the listeners can
yeah, somebody to get him on the
hit him
show.
up and say,
Agnes,
"Hey."
oh, hey, Moon wrote in and said Agnes is game director now. The game director.
Oh,
Thank you,
thank you,
Moon, for
Moon.
correcting. Thank you. Yes, game director. So yeah, I would love to get her on the show. I always like hearing her talk at the live events and then all the videos. Super interesting.
No, that's great. What about Jack Black now that he's going to be Steve for a
I don't
whole
know if he would
generation?
want to come on my show because I've said that I don't think he makes a good Steve. I'm sorry, I
True.
can't lie. I just
Contentious.
can't.
Sure. No, hey, that's,
I mean, I
I
would
share
love to
the
have him
same
on the
opinion.
show, but I just don't think he looks like Steve. That's what I said. I mean, I hope that doesn't offend him, me, little podcaster here, but uh, maybe he will do an outstanding job in the movie. Maybe perhaps, and I'll just be
I,
blown away. But yeah, I would
I
always
think he's
have him
always
on the show.
entertaining.
I would have Jack Black on my show, of course.
I'm just
I
speaking
would have Notch on the show, honestly, even though he's controversial and I don't back
very
anything he
controversial.
says and I don't
No.
align with his beliefs, but I would have him on my show because he is the reason Minecraft exists in a way. I mean, he is.
Yeah, it's hard to separate him from that, even though all the horrible things that he
Just
said.
can't.
No, you just can't. But yeah, very interesting. I only throw Jack Black out there as sort of a pie in the sky dream guest. He's always
Yeah,
entertaining, and I'm sure he'll bring his own spin to Steve. But I agree with you. He doesn't exactly look like our
I
classic blocky Steve.
for now, I have some great guests lined up. I'm not going to mention them because I don't want to jinx it because I had 3 cancellations in a month.
Oh sure, no spoilers, no
But
spoilers.
I'll just say I have a university lined up, and yes, a university that their department is in Minecraft technology, and that reflects real world use. It's pretty cool. I have them planned to come to the show soon. I have another Minecraft content creator that does some outstanding work that I need to get message them back and plan when they're coming onto the show and if they still want to be. But we were making plans before Christmas, and then I got somebody in our direct group, but is also a huge Minecraft fan that is I have planned on coming on the show here soon. So we have some people lined up, and hopefully I'm going to get around to sending out some emails to some musicians like oh gosh, why can't I think of names? Jukio Kaleo. I can't think of names now, but like C418, I'll try to email their agent again, and I would like to get another inside person, more artists or somebody from the Minecraft Mojang studio would be amazing, honestly.
Oh, definitely. I think the interviewing segments, and not just because I've been a guest, but I think the interviewing segments are really nice breakaway from your usual format and just as informative um, Minecraft content than even a regular episode. So I always like those. Those are fascinating and a nice little break in the format.
Thank you.
Um,
No, I appreciate that. I do.
oh yeah, absolutely. Um, so moving on, um, let's get into some technical aspects of realm news.
Okay, let's do
so
it.
I let's do it. So I know the first few episodes you shot on your phone. Not
Yes,
saying that we can tell quality wise. I just know that because
you can. You
I get a little
can.
insider peek to you perhaps. So what's the most useful piece of equipment you've added since you started, like editing wise or audio wise?
That is easy. I'll have to say my laptop. And I'm not going to lie.
Okay,
And now that we're getting to technical stuff and we're kind of in the podcasting section,
little
yeah, let
inside
me give you
baseball.
advice. If you're trying to get into podcasting, start off with whatever you got. There's no harm in it. It's a great way to learn. I did on my phone and I downloaded an app. There's no excuse not to get started in podcasting. If you have an idea, I suggest do it and put the time in. Like put the time in. There's no excuse, honestly. The
Absolutely,
technology
that's
is
great.
everywhere.
Would you
Um,
say along those lines, it's most helpful to have a subject matter in mind rather than
yes.
just sort of free form
Yeah, if,
conversation?
yeah, don't freeform. Don't. No one cares about two people that are best friends talking about random crap. No one cares. No one wants that. No, if you're going to do a podcast, it needs to be well thought out. I'll just say that. It's not unless you're just doing just doing it for fun gag or something like that, or just as a little hobby. There's no harm, no foul, right? But
Yeah,
if you
sure.
want if you're trying to do something serious, you can't. No one's going to care about rambling or two best friends just randomly talking about their day or things they think are funny because that's very inclusive or exclusive. Sorry, exclusive is the word I was looking for,
Yeah.
and no one else gets inside jokes. No, you need a show. I'm not saying my show is like the paradigm to go off of, but or I mean not paradigm, but the model to go off of. I can't word things today. The model to go off of, but like you just have to have a subject and it has to be well thought out. It does. And it's not podcasting's hard. Like any
Yeah,
content creator out there knows that it's
certainly.
hard to create something. And so you got to stick to it. You got to be on a schedule and you can't deviate from it. No excuses.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
Mhm.
Quality. I say this is the most important part. The equipment comes second. Focus on the quality of the material. Obviously, you're going to improve. Like my first episode, yes, like I cringe when I listen to it, but I have improved over a year. I can hear it. I have a long ways to
Absolutely.
go. I do, but you can hear the difference. So if you just have the intent to produce something with a good quality, that mindset, you're going to be fine.
I couldn't agree more. As an artist, I think a lot of young artists and new artists get concerned thinking about like what pen should I use? Should I
Hmm.
color digitally? Should I do this? Should I buy a new computer? Should I buy new paper? Should I da da da? When that's not really what you need to worry about. What you need to worry about is dialing in your abilities to draw something. Or in your case, what you're saying is you need to focus on uh, your voice, how you present things, the focus on the show.
Hmm.
Which I couldn't agree more. I mean, I don't think there's
If you have a
well,
will, there's a way. If I didn't have a laptop, I would have recorded on my phone, but I guess what? I would have just wrote all my notes down on paper. Like it would have
yeah,
been done, and that would not have changed the quality. The where it's written doesn't matter. What it's
right.
focus on making it good. That's it. Don't worry
Absolutely.
about the equipment.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And
And
like you said, a schedule.
yeah, that consistency for sure.
You
And I would
have to in
say,
podcasting, you have to be consistent or you're dead.
yeah, that makes sense. The only way you'll grow a fan base is that people will rely on that sort of weekly content. And if it's missing, then they'll just drop off and find something else.
Exactly.
Makes
Exactly.
sense to me. And I would say too, there is not a single piece of entertainment that is unfocused or without a subject.
No,
There's
not
no
at all.
TV
Nothing
show,
that's good.
play, book, piece of art that was someone just rambling, you know? So I would agree with that wholeheartedly. So you say your laptop is is the best piece of equipment you've added since you started.
It was like
Um,
going from Neolithic age to let's just skip and go to steel, or
okay.
lasers.
All
No,
right.
my
Skipping the
phone was
Iron Age.
great. And I was resistant. I was scared to make that transition, but I was forced because the platform I was using made a transition. They switched companies. So I was forced to figure out a new way to deliver my podcast and to create it. So I saved up some money and I got an on sale Apple laptop, which I love. I don't care how cheap it was, but I love it.
Nice.
And it has GarageBand. It has all the basics, all the things I can make it from anything from scratch audio. And that has been a lifesaver. Besides the laptop, microphone, of course. And
Nice.
my mic is just a typical Samsung Q2U, but it's quite decent. It's a dynamic mic, which is great for an apartment building. It helps take out those ambient sounds from neighbors and everything else. And um so yeah, I would say the laptop for sure, and then the mic, and then the headphones, which my headphones were only 20 bucks. They're Sony's from Best Buy.
I
And they're
mean,
pretty good. I mean, I like the audio on them. I can hear they get the job done well.
that's awesome. Uh, that's I think kind of inside baseball for people, but again, this is for if you're trying to get into podcasting.
Yeah,
Um,
kind of went off
you
Minecraft
know,
subject, but yeah,
no,
those are
hey,
little tips for podcasting there.
that's a little inside baseball. A little if you're looking for if you like the quality of Realm News and you're looking to create a podcast that has similar quality, there's the equipment the Dark Lord uses. So
Oh, but you can invest, bro. Like anything, you can invest thousands and thousands. Honestly, I have a cheap setup.
oh, certainly. And as an amateur artist, so do I.
It's like,
But
yeah,
again,
there's
it's just what you said. It's not the tools. It's the creator or the craftsman that makes the quality. I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I try. Like I said, the show's improving. It's always improving.
Oh, I agree. And this kind of just sticks with the technical aspect for just a little while longer. What's the most difficult part in the editing process? Or do you edit much? I kind of know the answer. It's a little leading, but it would be interesting for the listeners.
Yeah, I don't really edit. I don't go through. Like I said, I record most of this on my GarageBand when I do by myself.
Right.
When we're doing it like you and I, this is through Riverside.fm. I'm not.
Right.
I don't work for them.
This
Just
is not
telling
a
you
plug.
that's what we use. That's what I use. That's what we're using. And so that is being all like on a third party. But when it's myself, it's me and my laptop and microphone in a room. So when I'm editing, I go for the macro errors. Honestly, if there's something big, I delete it, and
Sure.
then I restitch it together where that gap is after I cut it. It's simply making cuts. That's it. I don't run it through an AI sometimes because a lot of third parties offer AI to
Ugh.
clean it or remove background noise, which is awesome. I do
Sure.
not respect podcasters that actually use voice cloning to read or even create their own scripts and then voice it. That is a sham. And I will I don't even want to get into that. It angers me to hear it because okay, actually I just want to sidestep because I'm
Sure.
about to publish my own book for the first time. I
We're gonna discuss that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about my book. I'm just want to
Mhm.
sidestep and say I just saw on the news that an author came out. I can't remember their name, but somebody ripped off their work by running their book through AI and reworded it a little bit, created their own cover for the book
Ugh.
through AI and then made an audiobook to profit off their work.
Jeez.
And they caught it and they don't know what they can do about it.
That's becoming all too common these days. And quite frankly, well, listen to our discussion on AI. You'll know exactly where we stand. And I think if you're passionate enough to want to do something, writing, podcasting, making art, or movies isn't, you should not be doing that for profit. You should be doing it for something that you have to do because you need to do it, because it's something in you that you need to express. Um,
Yeah, that's
but
no true. But you have to make money, obviously. But yes, no,
well,
I
agreed. But I think that people that look at, let me AI generate a book, AI
yeah,
generate an
that
audio
is
book just for profit, it
insane
leads
to
to
me.
something soulless, and
And
I think you could tell in the product.
and we had a whole AI episode, you and I, and
Yeah,
I know that
listen to that, folks.
yeah, please go back and listen to our AI episode. I thought it was great, but and I'm not going to beat that dead horse too much, but it's scary times for an artist, you know that, and
Oh
all the
yeah,
rip-offs. It makes con men. It's such a great tool for con men. It's insane.
I agree. I agree. So, but I think you could always tell when something's made.
You can. There's no getting
Yeah,
around it. If a
it's
machine made it, you
soulless.
can't hear it.
It's soulless and it's absent of the creator's touch, so to speak.
It is, and I can't remember what question. I kind of veered off that.
It
We were
was most difficult part in the editing
yeah,
process.
the editing. Yeah, and okay, so I just go through the macro errors and I I'll admit that's something I'm still evolving on. I want to get better with editing. I need to start to learn the more technical side of podcasting, like the more of the nuts and bolts when it comes to audio and how to tweak certain things manually. That would
Sure.
be really helpful, and that is something I plan on doing throughout 2025 as well.
So you're evolving your editing process as you
Yeah,
go.
that's always something I think everybody works on in this field.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Thank you for discussing a little bit of the technical aspect. I think it's fascinating, and I don't even necessarily have an interest in getting into podcasting, but hopefully the listeners
Why not? Y-
that are
sh-
interested in starting it, I have other artistic pursuits.
Yeah, I
Um,
know, I know.
but hopefully that's helpful for everyone because I know it's fascinating for anyone that's trying to get into the podcasting field.
Yeah,
Um,
just be diligent.
be diligent.
Be
So
diligent, try to produce good quality.
that's it. Yep, 100%. And speaking of good quality, Minecraft, top tier quality game. What do you think personally, or why do you think personally, Minecraft has persisted as a game and it keeps becoming more popular?
Oh gosh, and I have this written down, and it's quite simple in my eyes. I think it's Mojang as a team, and honestly, the community around that, and their creativity, and I don't know Mojang. I think I don't know them personally, but from what I've seen as an outsider in online, just seems like they foster creativity. It's a great place that cultivates an inclusive environment for everyone around the world. And, like players everywhere, designers. I mean, there's so many content creators. This game's unprecedented, honestly. They have a certain
Truly,
ethos that is unmatched.
truly.
That's why. And honestly, bro, I hate big corporations like Microsoft. I do. But
I mean, it's hard to like those monoliths.
no, you just can't. That's one reason why I hate America is because of the corporate, just corporate. That's all it is anymore.
Sure.
But this seems weird. This seems to be like a rare example of big money being paired with an indie company, and it succeeded. And they seem to have matched each other in a positive way. So honestly, if we could duplicate this across all industries, that'd be amazing if like big corporations could foster indie people.
Sure, yeah. Just
Wouldn't that be crazy?
provide them with money to continue doing what they're doing instead of trying to fit them into a different mold. I
Exactly.
agree.
So I think they have a good creative team and they have the money to back their ideas.
I agree. And you kind of mentioned them fostering sort of a player fan base and inclusivity, and it's sort of being open for everyone.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
so that kind of leads into your show. You have a whole segment called Poll Time. What does the community mean to you, and how much does it impact the topics of your show or the content of your show?
The community is everything to me. This podcast wouldn't exist. It wouldn't. I created this idea. Yeah, I could be recording this and listen to my own voice all day, but I don't want to do that. I want other people to
Sure.
hear this. Um, I want to grow, obviously. I want to get bigger. I want people to enjoy it. I want to be entertaining in a world that lacks entertainment. And I yeah, I don't know. It's just that's pretty much it. I just want to be something unique.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so that being said, how do you decide on a topic for an episode?
That's a good question. And I have several methods. I have many ideas written down on my cell phone and on random sheets of paper, especially when I'm at my job that I mentioned earlier, my factory job.
Sure.
I just have ideas swimming around. And if I have a second, I will try to jot that down. Or on my breaks, I will try to jot down ideas so I can. So I have this I have all this like a pantry of ideas that I can go now and pick. I also have like names for characters and stuff for my world just written down. So I have a lot of ideas, not even just for my show, but for lore building, which in turn comes back to my show. So
Sure.
this is like this self feeding cycle where I just jot down ideas. But there's been times where, and I love this, and I even commented on this on Twitter. I think they go by Harry, and they help moderate or they are in control or help or work for Minecraft dot or Wikipedia,
Oh,
Minecraft
cool.
Wikipedia. But anyways, I commented on their account to something saying, I love the random button. because sometimes I'll just click on that and it'll just pop up a random, let's say torch, right? Or
Right.
chest or ender chest or cobblestone. And that'll give me ideas. Or you've given me books, Minecraft books that I
Sure.
can
Yeah.
flip through now and get ideas.
Absolutely.
Or
So would you?
sorry.
Oh, go on. No, go on. Go on.
Or sometimes just being in the real world, I will get an idea of what I want to talk about because it's in the game. So I'll use something that in the real world.
Sure. So, would you say that more often than not? Because I know this isn't like a static way for your mind to work, but do you just think of a object in the game or something from the game, and then you start to do research?
I let me think here. This is what I do. When I find an object, let's say I don't know why I'm going with this cobblestone.
Sure.
I I know I'm doing cobblestone then. So I go and start researching. Let's say I'll type in to a search engine cobblestone and I'll see what's out there. And
Sure.
as we discussed, I always go towards history. So I like to go a lot of times. I'll break down the word or the etymology like I did in this episode over a word, like I did with
Yeah.
realm.
Absolutely.
And so it gives you a basic understanding. Or I'll start with the very beginning of what we like, as far back to the beginning of that history of whatever it is,
Okay.
like Paleolithic for rock or the Stone Age. So, uh, yeah, I'll try to find ideas and boil them down, and eventually singles out to one thing in the real world. And then I'm like, okay, I have my connection to the real world, and then I'll go from there, write that out. As you know, a lot of the time, my poll time may not be related to the show topic.
True. True.
It just doesn't line up sometimes. In fact, a lot of times it doesn't. I could probably be better about that, and I have thought about that. It's like, Greg, you got to be better about keeping everything uniform. But at the same
Sure.
time, I'm like, you know what? Why? Because I'm doing a real and realm. That's pretty much a show in itself. This is kind of a bonus material in a way. Um, Getting the community feedback I love and everything, but I could make that into a separate show if I wanted to. In fact, I have done episodes over just polls. So
You have, yes.
I like to keep it in there because I love the community feedback and that connection. And it won't go anywhere, trust me. But um, yeah, that's essentially why it's composed like that. The polls are sometimes varying because that just happens to be the poll I did.
Right. Sometimes you put the poll out there, and then you have an idea for a show, and or research that, and then they don't line up, and, and that makes sense to me. And I think
Yeah.
honestly, that community engagement is a huge part of your show that I like a lot.
A
Is
lot of
that
people love
it's
that.
yeah, it's not your opinion or your view on a part of the game. You're bringing in all sorts of players, and there's no player small enough or
No.
that you won't bring in or mention on your show. And I think that's really, really cool
Yeah,
to
no, I
give people a
love
shout out. You're always crediting people and sourcing people, which I think is great. It sort of speaks to your academic mindset when it comes to the show.
I appreciate that. And that's something I always I always want to give credit where credit's due. I honestly do. I That's how it is supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. So,
Absolutely.
I yeah, the community engagement, poll time is absolutely essential to the show. Um there was a point in time where I thought about separating poll time and make it a separate day of the week. And I was like, no. But that was back when I was trying to come up with my time of the show better. I was like, this might be too long. Maybe I should split it up and blah, blah, blah. But I
Sure.
think this is kind of where it's landed. And I think this is what people expect and people like it. I haven't had any negative feedback about the format. So, and I'm always
Yeah.
asking for feedback.
No, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And you really take that to heart. And I think that's a big pro of what you do is that you're always engaging with the community and always engaging with your listeners.
And
I know
but
I
I
love that as a listener.
thank you. But no, I will say, besides the corporate aspect of Mojang being a great team, it is all about the Minecraft community that makes the game great. Because, man, I'm amazed by just how artistic of a community it is. Like, going on social media, like after the creaking came out, and I'm seeing people crocheting creakings and
Awesome.
painting creakings, writing songs, doing animated movies. It's like, it's insane. And we're naturally artistic people. We've talked about that. And so this is
Certainly.
my type of community. These are a bunch of artists and people that like art and are nerdy like I am.
Agreed. Agreed. We're all a bunch of big nerds, and we should be proud of that.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty
Passion is
nerdy people.
passion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no
a
matter what
passion for
form it
sure. It
takes.
really is. It's a really, I don't know any other video game that has this type of culture around it. Honestly, it's kind of crazy for a video game.
Truly. And I think just to go back to what you previously stated, I think its open-ended nature really lends to community building because we get to fill in the gaps. We get to talk to each other about what we
Yeah,
think the creaking is. There's no answers to be found in the game. There's only answers to be found within ourselves or with each other, which
it yeah.
you get to engage in pretty directly, and you get to express those ideas on your show. And I think that's really cool and really valuable and really fun for people.
But
So
also,
if you
bro,
haven't listeners, engage with him on social media or in the Reddit.
yeah,
Um,
please.
if anything, you'll get a shout out. You know.
Yeah, for sure you will. I usually always reply back to my direct messages, emails. Yeah, just I will reach back. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a very engaged creator.
try to
You,
be.
you've inspired me to be more responsive on social media because I'm kind of a shy guy when it comes to engaging in social media and things like that.
No,
Um,
I you need to get your artwork out there. It's great. That's why I've been trying to get you to be more engaged.
yeah, no, you've helped me out a lot. So um, yeah, just moving on really quickly.
Yeah.
We'll speak a little bit about um. Oh, your upcoming novella. You don't have to
Yes.
get into spoilers. Um, I know Realm News has taken on the form of podcasting. It started sort of as an internal newsletter just for your kingdom of Ombre Dieu, but it's kind of started to take on other forms. So why don't you discuss your upcoming novella,
Okay.
Torvingi in the Village of Alp? Um, I love it personally. I'm very excited to read the final draft and actually hold a copy in my hand. So
Yeah.
what was the inspiration, and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've wanted to write a story for a long time, and I can't even tell you why I did it when I did it. But it was on Christmas Day. I just sat down and I didn't even have really a subject in mind except for the this fort that I built in my game in this new land that I discovered, which was a snow biome in Minecraft, and it was on the on the peak, like extremely high up in the air. I think around 170 blocks up in the air on this huge head wall, which is essentially a slab of stone that goes vertically up, a thin slab that goes up. It reminds me of a hoodoo, but
Sure, sure.
if you want, you know, I mean, just different material. But
Yeah, absolutely.
um, so for some reason, I really liked how this fort that I built up there overlooked this very unique town. I've never discovered one like that in my world. You saw it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a
I
great
saw it's
village.
cool. You can hardly
Yeah.
get up the mountain.
No, it's really a trip to get up there. Bring your leather boots if you're trying to visit the village of Alp. Certainly.
Yes. And that's what I named it, the Village of Alp.
Yep.
And um So that's the title of the book, Torvingi in the Village of Alp, and it's a rich fantasy novel. Eh,
I agree.
I
Very
kind of have
atmospheric.
a synopsis here, but I'll just go ahead and kind of paraphrase my own synopsis.
Sure.
It immerses, actually, I'll just read it. It's a fantasy novel that immerses readers in the snowy world of Alp, where past heroism whispers and present adventures promise. Torvingi, a wandering trader from Skellig, seeks refuge during a blizzard and intertwines his story with Alp's history and meets the Dark Lord. That's pretty much it in his keep, the summary of it all. Um,
Yeah, I think that's a perfect summary of the story. Um,
Yeah, and you designed the cover of this book, which
I did.
encapsulates actually, you give a visualization of what's happening before the story begins, honestly, which is really
Yeah,
cool. And I know I'm not the host of this show, but tell me about the cover real quick because this is the first time that's been announced.
can't help yourself, of course.
Nope.
Yeah. So I had a couple of ideas for the cover. When I read your first draft of the story, I really love the first draft of the story. It's gotten better with every uh, subsequent draft. Um, but the atmosphere was always really present and really there. It brought you into the feeling of the story and Torvingi himself. So I had a few ideas for the cover that kind of leapt out immediately once I finished reading the draft. But ultimately, I settled on just wanting to have the story start on the cover. So when you pick up the book, you look at the cover, you're already in it. The story started, and it just continues on the first page and just rolls right into what you're talking about. So
And it
that's kind of it.
does. Because
Thank you.
it does. In fact, if you go sign up to Realm News' Patreon, it'll be it's on my Twitter, the link, and on my Blue Sky. It's easy to find in my bio.link/Realm News. Go sign up there, and you can read. It's the rough draft of the first chapter. It's changed some. It has. Sam, I sent you the copy of pretty much the near completed draft of it
Yeah, I'm
last night.
excited to dive in.
Yeah, it's I think a page longer.
Oh,
It's
all
more
right.
refined. I had to cut out a lot and rewrite a lot. It's a different story. Moon even has a copy of like a rough draft. So Moon's going to be surprised when they read it. Um and everybody that signs up as a copper member in my Patreon or above tier, you're going to get the book for free. So that's a plus there. Go sign up if you enjoy books, if you like to read and you like Minecraft inspired tales. So
I
yeah,
highly recommend signing up, checking out that first chapter. I promise you, it'll make you want to read the next chapter. It's a
yeah,
really great debut. And if you want to check out the cover, check us out on Blue Sky.
yeah, it's kind of a
Um,
story of like I said, it's a wandering trader that encounters the Dark Lord during a blizzard, and they get to talking and sharing stories with each other to pass the night through this blizzard. So through these stories, I attempt to draw the reader in to a world into a new world, a new culture or cultures, I should say, because this is going to be a trilogy. This is only the first book out three. So you're going to hear, I'll just go ahead and tell you, you're going to hear from a couple point of views throughout this trilogy. And I'll let you guess who those are. But um, it's going to be interesting to hear about these worlds and how the point of view of the Dark Lord compared to Torvingi and what these characters, both of their struggles
yeah,
and how they resolve that throughout this trilogy.
it's a classic framing device. It's Arabian Nights or Decameron or Canterbury Tales. But it's a great framing device. Gives you some insight into the Dark Lord himself and a character that I really grew to love Torvingi.
I don't know even. And Sam, I think it's because the Wandering Trader is such a unique NPC or character in the game of Minecraft that I don't know. There's something about him that I can't shake. He popped up in my subconscious writing this. When I wrote this story, I had no idea who I was going to introduce the Dark Lord to. I had no idea.
Sure.
And for some reason, Torvingi came into the realm just out of nowhere. He seems to be the perfect character. He's a wandering trader. These people go everywhere in the overworld. They have their
Yes.
own culture.
He's tailor made for that. I mean, if you were going to have a traveling character in Minecraft, that's not, a player character like the Dark Lord or the Sun King.
Yes.
The Wandering Trader is kind of a natural fit.
And
Um,
it's just, yeah, bro, I'm excited to get your final opinion on this draft I sent you. I'm going to make I'm going to fix whatever you recommend. And then my girlfriend Gaia Divine's going to read it. I'm going to hear what she has to say. After that, I'm going to put in the final touches, and then it's going to be published and available.
that's
And
awesome.
then yeah, I'm super excited. And it's my first book I've ever written. And I'm just now it's like in my system. I want to just keep developing this realm new or not. I mean, Empire Dieu universe. Kind of like some of my favorite authors, like J.R.R. Tolkien, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I know I butchered his name last time because I get him mixed up with George R.R. Martin, which I'm
Yes,
listening doing their audiobook right now, which I'm now in love with. I want to buy the books and actually read Game of Thrones because I love the series, but and now I'm in love with his writing, and now I'm addicted to writing, and I just want to improve my writing. I
that's
understand this is
great.
my first book. I'm not going to knock it. I think it's pretty deep, pretty good. You like it, and I really value your opinion, bro.
Yeah, I
Um,
really, really like this story. I think all of you will too. And pretty soon we'll be able to add Greg R. Howard to the
yeah, right.
pantheon of
I
great
doubt
writers.
I'll ever be that successful as a writer, but I just know that I want to now produce short stories more often. I have a lot of ideas. Yesterday, I came up, I think, with 2 new short stories, and I developed kind of the next book to Torvingi and the third. So I kind of know where I'm going to go with that, and I have ideas for more books, and I want to write a full length novel.
Yeah, very exciting. I would love to read a full length novel. The novella you've written right now is really great, really strong in atmosphere. You guys will be able to feel the chill in your bones while you read it.
I
I
hope so. Yeah,
promise.
I just hope people get something from it, amusement or, something.
It's an adventure fantasy story, and it's really great. A lot of
Thanks.
strong themes, a lot of strong atmosphere. So
Thanks.
check that out. Subscribe to the Patreon and get a little free preview for sure. And you will be making the ebook available to Patreon subscribers, right?
Yes, copper tier, diamond tier members will get that automatically. The ebook.
All right. So if you want it ahead of anybody else, or before it's available to purchase, make sure to subscribe to the Patreon. I know it's worth it. It's a really, really great story, and it's going to lead to a whole exciting new fantasy universe.
Yeah, the universe is just opening up. And I do want to say this about the book, just for people that are about to read it. It's a Minecraft inspired story. I tried to do something a little bit unique with this. I would kind of like the real to realm in my podcast. I wanted to bring the realm to real. I wanted to present Minecraft as the real world and not like the a Minecraft movie where it's digitized. I want it to feel like that person is relatable or you're actually in this environment. Almost I had to twist things to our physics as well. But I try to keep elements that suggest and point out to the reader that this is a Minecraft world.
Yeah, I agree totally. You'll be able to see those Easter eggs if you're familiar with the game. But it does stand on its own as like just a good fantasy adventure story with a lot of great atmosphere. And even extending to the cover, um, it has no Minecrafty elements like you would find in a typical Realm News episode cover. It's
No.
more sort of a straight fantasy cover that tries to capture the atmosphere and, like I said, start the story on the cover.
And that's why I told you that's what I wanted, and I think you nailed that perfectly because I said, yeah, I want this to be. It's not Realm News. It's not part of the podcast. It's a book, but it
It's
is
its own thing.
Minecraft related. So yeah, you nailed it with the Wandering Trader. Like you can tell if you're into Minecraft, that's a Wandering Trader. His colors and everything, even though you tweaked his uniform and made it more for cold weather, which is
I
cool. I like
did,
that.
yeah.
No,
Couldn't have
that's
him wandering
realistic.
around without pants on.
No, and
Um,
that's what I wanted.
yeah, if you want to, yeah, and like I said, check me out on Blue Sky. Check out the Dark Lord on Blue Sky. If you want to get a first look at Torvingi in the village
Yes,
of
yes,
the Alp.
please do.
No,
No,
great stuff. Cannot wait. As we're kind of getting to an hour and a half point, I think
yes,
I just have a couple more questions for you, man.
yeah, no problem.
Um,
Shoot him.
so this is kind of a dual question, but it's both past and future. So, what have you learned over the first year, and what's the future of Realm News look like?
Okay. Well, geez, those are good questions. I've learned quite a bit over the last year. Well, specifically because I was brand new to podcasting, I learned everything from
Sir, for
scratch.
sure, for
Um,
sure.
I guess some major things that I learned that I had written down that I can't find now um, are, I not to panic when something occurs, like schedule wise,
Sure.
because yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you're an indie podcaster, you're obviously the podcast isn't sustaining you financially, so you have a job. And I'm talking about everybody as an indie podcaster. You probably didn't become Joe Rogan overnight successful. Um,
Right, right.
I'm not saying that I support his show. I'm just saying he's successful. There's no denying that.
No, no, no. He's insanely rich, and even then, he had a career before he settled on his show.
Exactly. But that's the other thing is just the perseverance of it. I mean, you're going to start off with maybe just a couple listeners for months, and I still don't have like a huge audience, and I'm not complaining because the people I have are amazing.
Yeah,
They make
absolutely.
up like each one of my listeners is like the equivalent of 10,000 Joe Rogan listeners. So,
I agree.
um
I agree.
they are. I have a quality audience that is like unmatched. So,
I agree, and like I said, I think your engagement with the community and their engagement with you is really healthy for the most part. There's none of that angst or like mean spirited
no, it's the
engagement that can
opposite.
occur. Yeah, it's very.
My people are
I don't want to say
loving.
wholesome, but I just want to healthy,
Yeah, they're very healthy people. My audience
healthy
are great
interactions.
people.
Yeah.
So I love that. So yeah, I learned that you just have to be persistent, consistent, even if there's no one listening at the beginning, which thankfully I have built up an audience. It's we're nearing 50 subscribers on Spotify, which I think is awesome.
Oh right. Tell all your friends about it.
Yeah, please go spread it. Like I said, if I want this to get in front of people and it be entertaining and it get into the people's earbuds that enjoy this. So spread the word, please. But yeah, other things that I learned, just be better prepared as a podcaster. Preparation's key. Having a few episodes as a backlog is great.
Yeah.
In case you get sick or if a guest cancels or if something happens to you because life.
Life.
Yeah, just life.
Hey.
Not to panic during audio or technical difficulties because that happens. Just
Certainly. Yeah.
like when you
We,
came down, we had to.
we've had to reshoot, yeah,
Yeah, we
almost
almost
an
gave up.
entire other episode several
We
times.
Yeah, it's you kind of it's hard to keep the same enthusiasm recording after you do it 3 times.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh,
Couldn't
we talked
agree
about this
more.
3 times."
Yeah, let's what new stuff do we have to talk about? Yeah,
Yeah. Let me think. What else have I learned? I mean, it's mostly just been the learning curve of podcasting, which I'm grateful. The hardest part, I think I've overcome now. I'm happy for the schedule that I've created, which is if you're an indie podcaster, you need a schedule. Get a schedule because that's just going to keep your podcast going. If you don't have a schedule, then you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to fall behind. You're going to feel like a failure. That's no good for anybody. So,
great advice.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it there. I have a lot more to learn too.
Great advice, and we look forward to listening and evolve. But that leads into the second part of the question.
Oh, yes.
What's the future of Realm News look like?
I want to talk realistically. I can't really expand the show any more than I can between working 2 jobs and having 2 different shows produced weekly. I've kind of maxed out and with my Patreon and
Oh,
writing
certainly,
books.
certainly.
But there will be a time where I want to do some expansion, and I do have some immediate things I want to do. I would like to get a website going, one
Cool.
hopefully in 2025. I'm going to expand on merchandise. That's happening in the next couple months. Patreon, there will be a shop where you can buy posters, hopefully some stickers. I don't know what else yet, but
Stickers for sure. I look forward to that.
me too, bro. And you're going to be helping collab with that stuff because you're my artist and that's your wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I'm excited to be doing that, and people out there that enjoy the show and your artwork will be able to actually purchase it now. So I'm excited to do that because I tested out a t-shirt. All my little things, the
Yeah.
poster that I showed, these are little tests so I can get the shop up and running. I love the quality of that t-shirt. I just need to find a right price for it and
Oh
do
yeah,
the
looks very cool.
pricings for the posters. And it's going to start as a small shop, but it'll probably slowly expand like anything else. And obviously, the book will be in there so you can buy the physical copy. I want to produce more books, short stories this year. And ultimately, if I was to throw out the dream for Realm News, it will expand into a network.
All right, the Realm News Network.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the only creator. I want this to grow. I would be willing one day to have other people and hosts underneath the network or an umbrella of sorts and have other books from other Minecraft authors for sale on this hypothetical network and whatnot. I want to be I want to grow it. I have plans to make this big. Let's put it that way. And I have a lot of
Very cool.
energy, and my vocal cords have just started warming up. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, and I can talk a lot and produce a lot.
Very cool, man. That's super exciting.
And I want ideas. Like if you have an idea and want to help contribute to the show or pitch your ideas to me, I'd love it.
L- like I said, yeah, the Dark Lord's very engaged with the community. You won't be your voice will be heard.
You will. I'm
Certainly.
actually, somebody asked, how do you get on to be a guest on the show? I said, shoot me a DM. And they did.
Yep.
And I talked to them, and guess what? They're coming on to the show. That's one of my guess. It's a it's a Minecraft member. It's just a person in the community. It's
That's
they're going
great.
to be on, and I'm excited. It's going to be fun. Yeah. So I do reach back out. And why is that going off? Sorry about that, folks. Um, my alarm went off for some reason, but no, I will reach back out to you. At most, it'll take me a couple days before I notice an email. But if, I'm probably quicker at getting back to you through my direct messages on Blue Sky or Twitter.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
agreed.
I'll definitely I want to expand the show. I want to get some products in the shop. So yeah, reach out to me and pitch your ideas. Honestly, I'm open minded.
Well, that's really exciting, man. That's really great news. I'm
Yeah, and
excited.
I'm excited to have you
As just
because
a listener.
I'm excited for your art. Everybody loves your art. I'm
That's
excited to get it
humbling to
out there.
hear. Yeah, on the art side of the future of Realm News. Oh, thank you, Moon. But yeah, on the art side of Realm News, yeah, look forward to just more great covers. More great covers. More artwork to come. Definitely.
Yep,
Um,
Moon. I'll just have to say, Moon earlier today said love the cover for the book.
oh, thank you, Moon. It really was a labor of love. And I hope it has a slightly different look than the Realm News covers, and it really evokes the story. So
No,
thank you
you
so
did a
much
great
for that,
job.
Moon.
Honestly,
Thank you,
bro.
bro.
Like, if you weren't my brother, you'd be the artist I would want.
Well, thank you. That's very humbling. But yeah, more great Realm News covers to come, and I'm excited to get my own T-shirt. To be honest with you.
Yeah, dude, and I'm
Um,
going to send you a poster. It's going to be a
oh, I
really
appreciate that.
late Christmas present, but
I appreciate that. No, I love the
I
quality
plan
on
on
the.
it.
I love the quality on the things that you've printed just to test out so far. They look great, um, and that's awesome. Do you have anything else
Yeah, I
that you'd
do.
like to share?
I was going to shut down my Kofi account, but I think I'm going to keep it up for the contest I have going there. Or I'm going to try to transfer it over to Patreon, but actually, I don't know how I can set it up on Patreon. I might just keep it at Kofi. Anyways, I'll update everybody on that more, but I do have something going there that I'm trying to raise $20 from the community out there for a poster.
Hey,
So send me $20, you get a free you get somebody will win a poster. So
that's awesome. That's not uh uh that's not a lot to potentially get a free Realm News poster. Do they get to pick which cover they want?
sure.
All right,
Sure.
hey, even better.
You
If you
can
have a
donate
favorite,
as little as $1, I believe. So
oh, that's great. Yeah, and if you have a favorite Realm News cover, you'll get a great piece of wall art to hang up.
yeah, as long as I keep that up there. Like I said, I made my transfer over to Patreon. I first had Ko-Fi,
Mhm.
and then I went over to Patreon, and I'm shutting down Ko-Fi. So I might just close that. So I don't know. Just keep posted for all that, honestly. But
Truly,
besides
yeah.
that, that's really all I have to say. I I appreciate you having me on as a guest.
Of course. Hey, and thank you for letting me hijack the show for the 1 year anniversary. I hope you had fun, and I hope it wasn't too weird giving up control for an episode.
No, it
Um,
wasn't weird at all. I had a good time, man. I really did. I think everybody had hey, here, got somebody that said this. Thanks for hijack Moon says thanks for hijacking the show.
absolutely, and maybe who knows? 2 year
Thank you,
anniversary, I'll
Moon.
be back. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That's very nice.
That is very
Um,
nice. You are very appreciated, Moon.
yes, you
Moon's
are.
been one of my top listeners to the show. They've listened to every episode and is actually a copper tier member.
Oh, that's wonderful. And see, and then
Yeah.
if, and again, if you're a community member, if you're a listener, try and engage with us, and we'll give you a shout out. At the very least, we'll give you a shout out.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
heck yeah. But yeah, that kind of wraps up our special 1 year anniversary show. Thank you so much for being a guest,
Thank
Dark
you.
Lord.
Sun King.
Who knows? And don't worry, everybody. Don't worry. The Dark Lord will return next week for your regularly scheduled Realm News episode. This was just a one-off special treat where we could kind of get to insight on how he does the show and what his thought process is behind it. And who knows? Maybe I'll hijack the show again for the 2 year anniversary.
Yeah, or
Um,
maybe we'll just do this format again. Who knows? Even if
hey,
it's
who
not
knows?
anniversary.
Why not? Um, but that wraps up this special episode of Realm News. I again want to thank the Dark Lord for indulging me in this special anniversary episode. Thanks
It was a
again, man.
pleasure. It was a
I hope it was
pleasure.
a special treat. That's great. And goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening.
See ya.